Ever wondered how much ice cream is in your ice cream cone? This is the lesson to help you out. So we're going to be talking about cones today and the volume of a cone. But before we get started on that, let's review what we have done. A prism is the area of the base times the height. So here's a prism. The base is a square, so we would find the area of a square and then multiply it by the height. A cylinder is the area of the base times the height, but this time the base is a circle, so we find the area of the circle and then we multiply by the height. In the case of a cylinder, the base is always the circle, so we don't have to change that formula, whereas in a prism it kind of changes based on the prism you're working with. Then we talked about a pyramid, and so a pyramid was like a prism in that you would find the area of the base, in this case a square, and then you would multiply it by the height. But the problem was it wasn't two squares. It decreased in size as it went up the pyramid. So what we found out was that the pyramid actually sits inside the prism, so it's smaller. It's a third of the prism. So the area of a pyramid is a third the area of the prism it sits in, so a third the volume of the prism it sits in. So we find the area of the base, multiply by the height, and then divide by 3. So today we're going to add in the cone. Now you can see a cone is like a cylinder in the fact that it has a circular base. So no matter what, the base is going to be a circle, but a cone, like a pyramid, decreases in size as it goes through the height. So a cone, like a pyramid, sits inside of something else. So the cone is going to sit inside of the prism. The cone is going to sit inside the cylinder. So like a pyramid, the cone is a third of the cylinder it sits inside of. So we are going to go ahead and add those formulas to the notes. Here are 3 formulas in review. We're going to kind of skip down here since we're already on that. So again, a cone is like a pyramid in that it's a third, but instead of the base constantly changing, it is always going to be a circle. So we're looking at the volume is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder, so 1/3 pi r squared times height. What I forgot to mention was what actually defines a cone. A cone is a circular base, so there's exactly one base, and it is circular, so it's a circle, and it's going to come to a single point. Now that point cannot be on the circle. I know it's a strange thing to say that's in the definition, but that's the case. So this vertex point causes it to be 3-dimensional. So you can see here in our picture, we have a height, we have a radius, and we have a slant height. So it's like a pyramid in lots of ways, except the base is a circle. We're going to calculate the volume. So the volume formula is 1/3 pi times radius squared times height. So 1/3 times pi times 2 is your radius, 4 is your height, so we're going to square the 2 and multiply by 4. Like the pyramid, I might suggest that you go ahead and find the area of your cylinder and then divide by 3, and that will make your pyramid. It's going to be approximate because we have pi involved in there. So just as a reminder, you have a squared button. Please feel free to use it. You're going to multiply by 4, you're going to multiply by pi, and divide by 3. Order really doesn't matter how it goes into the calculator. So we get about 16.76 feet cubed. Also, don't forget, you don't actually have to use the pi key if you don't have it. You can do 2 squared, or 2 times 2 times 4 times 3.14. Almost forgot. Divide by 3, and so that's 16.75. It's slightly different, and that's okay. We know that one gives a slightly different answer than the other due to the number of decimals. Let's do that one more time. The volume of a cone is 1/3 of the cylinder it would sit in, so 1/3 of pi r squared h, pi times radius times height. Sorry, pi times radius squared times height. So 1/3 times pi times our radius is 10, which we're going to square, and our height is 24. I know it kind of looks weird in that picture, but if it weren't the height, if it were the slant height, it would be sitting out here. Since it is not, we're going to call it the height. So we're going to do 10 squared, which is 100, times 24 times pi divided by 3, giving us 2,513.27 centimeters cubed. Now, if you do not use the pi key, 3.14159, all that other good stuff, if you just use 3.14, 10 squared is 100, so it's going to remove your decimal, and so you actually end up with a whole number if you don't have the pi key. It's one of those things that happens occasionally.